Hey, you guys. I am super excited to be back with Power Lunch and sharing with all of you. I am using new software, so I'm just looking at my phone to see if this fancy new streaming platform that I'm trying actually works. So let's see if it does. Hey, Lex. It does. So I switched streaming platforms so I could stream on my personal page and on the Power Network page at the same time. Hey, Erica. Hey, Sharon. Because doesn't that make sense? Then to be sharing on both of them. And I actually absolutely been loving all of the options that have come into play during COVID as far as technology. There has been some amazing innovation and upgrades to some services that I've been using for years and years and years. Hey, Steph. So I am really loving this one. It's called StreamYard, and I actually like it better than Zoom and Be Live, which are two platforms that I've used for years. Now, I'll still use Zoom to teach because this one was specifically made to stream. But definitely for my daily broadcast, this one is winning. So anyway, I hope most of you have spent a lot of this time doing some soul searching as it relates to my purpose, as it relates to my family, as it relates to my business, and as it relates to my brand. There's nothing like having to spend more time with yourself to cause you to do some introspection. And so I have definitely not going to pretend like I haven't watched television, but I haven't been just inundating myself with so much of it that I haven't been spending quiet time with myself. And I don't know about y'all, who out there, is anybody else's sleep schedule off? Give me a high five, a hands up, something, because my sleep schedule is crazy. Like, I am up to all hours of the night, and then I am dragging myself out of bed in the morning because I have a work day. I'm still coaching remotely and teaching, etc., and have business to take care of. So this has been a trip, just trying to keep the sleep schedule on track. Oh, and then also, y'all know I'm always talking about how I'm a teacher and a lunch lady and all that good stuff. So see, Steph Lex, y'all feel me. So the sleep schedule thing has been way off. But one of the things that I realized, hey, Erica, hey, Savannah. One of the things that I realized is that when I first started doing these lives 4 years ago, it wasn't all about business. Definitely, I shared the same way I do now about leadership, about marketing, about branding, but I also shared about my faith, and I shared about myself, and I focused on messages that could inspire as well as motivate. And I had gotten so caught up in the hamster wheel of business that I was just really focused on, helping people with their business. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we're still going to do that. But I've just decided to get back to theming the days. So going forward, Mondays are all going to be about mindset. Tuesdays today are going to be about think tanks, so they'll be about business, marketing, entrepreneurship, leadership, etc. Wednesdays, we're just going to share some wisdom, and Mondays also there'll be some mastermind exchanges, so I have some guests on Mondays. Thursday is going to be another think tank. Please feel free to send questions, ask questions now if you have them. And then Fridays are going to be like about faith and about fear. And because that's something that I am helping people navigate through every single day in coaching. And by the way, shameless plug, coaching is just $50 an hour right now. Never offered it as low as I've been offering it during COVID. And I spend a majority of my day doing that, and I'm super enjoying it. So thank you to everybody that has purchased coaching sessions. So anyway, I said today we were going to talk about the weight of the weight. And so the weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, of the weight, W-A-I-T. And what do I mean by that? In anything that we endeavor to do in life, there's going to be some type of weight. And so, when you want to start a business, when you want to get married, when you're in a marriage, when you're raising kids, trying to lose weight, when you're trying to become more fit, when you're trying to become healthier, when you're grieving. All of these things have a waiting period, WAITING, before you can see them actually come to pass. And so what I'm learning, and I knew this, but it's become even more impactful as of recent, is that so many people don't see the end because they cannot handle the weight, WEIGHT, of the weight. And so either they shift and they do something else because they don't want to wait for success. They don't want to wait for customers. They don't want to wait for the husband. They don't want to wait for their marriage to get better. They don't want to wait for their heart to heal. They won't want to wait for the finances to come. And so they make really rash decisions, or they just give up altogether because the weight becomes too much for them to handle while waiting. And so I wanted to come in and encourage you to say that the wait is worth it. The wait is worth it. And so I used to always tell people, like, patience is not one of my virtues. Like, I am a very impatient person. And I will say it's something that I still have to work at every day. But what I've come to learn as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as a wife, is I've come to learn that patience had to become one of my virtues, because hey, John, because without it, I was going stir crazy. Without it, I was trying to push people, places, and things into areas and moments and expectations that they weren't ready for, and neither was I. And so the waiting period is not a waste of time, because it is during the waiting period that you can prepare yourself. It is during the waiting period that you can become stronger. It is during the waiting period that you really learn. My husband and I are in this really sweet spot as we head into year 11 of our marriage. And there were plenty of times that I didn't feel like waiting to get to this place. The wait, WEIGHT, of waiting to get to the place that we are now seemed to feel crushing and suffocating to me at times. When in all actuality, it's just one of those things that's required in marriage. And same thing with entrepreneurship. There have, waiting for this dream that I can see, and waiting for the impact that I know that I was born to make. The waiting for that to happen can be discouraging at times. I think about the momentum that I had pre-COVID and some of the opportunities I had on the table that basically just disappeared because of this global pandemic. That can be crushing. But again, that's when that exercising, learning how to wait comes into play, because just like those opportunities came, more will also come. And God has been so faithful during this time that even in that, hey, Kalisa, even in that, having to wait for life to go back to normal, whatever that looks like, and having to wait for new opportunities to come, I have coached and met and consulted for so many people that I probably would not have had an opportunity to do that with had this not happened. I have had an opportunity. I posted a blog yesterday about the reset that's happened in my marriage and the reset that's happened with my children. And I encourage that even if you're not a couple, that I hope you've used this time to reset with yourselves and to make yourself a priority, because we all deserve to be a priority, first to self and then to someone else. And so that this time has not been wasted. John said it stands to reason that if you don't have the weight and you can't wait, you lack vision and your faith weight isn't up. Shiftney's amen. That's really good. Hey, Charlisa. And so waiting, gosh, especially, okay, so we talked about personal waiting as it relates to your career, waiting as it relates to someone to pick you or to decide that you are or you're ready for a position. As someone who spent 20 years in corporate America, there were so many times that I felt like I was waiting. Hey, Latrice, I was waiting on someone to tell me, you're good. I even had a recent wait. So COVID happened. And I would say late February, I had my anniversary celebration. It was amazing. And the day after that, I got extremely sick. Nobody was talking COVID back then, but I had the flu for about 3 weeks, and it was the absolute worst flu I've ever had in my life. And it took 3 weeks to get back on my feet. As soon as it felt like the flu was ending, all of a sudden, my teeth, like literally 3 different teeth, just molars, just started aching and crumbling. Permanent crowns start falling off. So then all of a sudden I'm in all these random dentist office because my dentist isn't working, and I am getting oral surgery. And at one point I had stitches in my mouth at the top, at the bottom, and I couldn't eat solid foods. And I would say it was just yesterday that I said to my husband, I finally feel like myself. I was pushing through and I was coaching and I kept waiting for my healing to come. But it wasn't until like yesterday evening that I started feeling like myself, that I can tell that my gum tissue is hardening. I had this headache that wouldn't go. And so again, I had started building all this momentum when COVID first hit, of going live, coaching people, strategic planning. And then again, the rug gets pulled from under me because of health challenges that I have no control over. And so then I have very high expectations of myself. I'm super hard on myself. So in those moments, I'm like, I'm losing money. I'm not providing for my family in the way that I would. I'm not servicing clients in the way I normally would. And so, the weight of that and the waiting to heal was frustrating me. And I wasn't being honest about how I was feeling. And I finally had to tell some people, I'm not doing well. And so I would say, you have to set proper expectations with others, but also with yourself. And you have to know, like, I had to sit down for the last 2 weeks, basically, and finally just shut up and heal. Stop trying to write. Stop trying to think. Stop trying to strategically plan. Just sit down and wait until the weight of this pain left my body. And so I'm excited. This is the first time I've done a power lunch. And I don't know how long, because I really felt like I could not speak from an intellectual perspective or an introspective perspective, because there was this pounding that was happening, in my head. And so I'm glad to hear that, Steph. And so I would say, one of the ways to deal with the weight, WEIGHT, of the weight, while you're waiting for your dreams, your healing, your hope, your pain to come, some things to come to fruition, some things to go away, is to be patient with yourself and to be honest with yourself about where you are and where it is you're trying to be, and to, keep track of that, to rest, to eat better, to be mindful, to call a therapist if necessary, to call a doctor if necessary. So whatever it is you're going through, to align yourself with like-minded individuals that are there for you and understand you and really know you, and know that although that you are dealing with the weight of some heavy things while you're waiting to come out of that they're not going to judge you in that vein. My husband and I were having a conversation about someone, and he said, it's not really fair to judge anyone based on how they're acting and behaving during COVID. And it wasn't like a personal interaction. It was like a neighbor and, their noise level and some things like that. And he's absolutely right, because they're not home how they're normally home. They don't have sleeping patterns how they normally sleep. When he says something like that to me, it carries over into other areas of life, because I realize, and I think a lot of us miss it, there are some people under some serious stress right now. Their finances don't look how they normally look. Even if they do look like they normally look, they home with their significant others, with their kids. I get saddened every day when I read the statistics about domestic violence and child abuse going up. Home is not, Steffi and I talked about how this quarantine has made our marriage closer. That's not the case for everybody. Some people are like, oh my God, as soon as we get out of this, I'm going to the courthouse, I'm divorcing you. And so it can be going any which way. And so give some people some grace in this season to be who they be. As I was thinking about preparing for today, something popped up in my memories by Les Brown that I want to share with you, that I thought was very relevant to this conversation. And y'all, if you out there, say hey. If I haven't seen you, let me know you're here. If you have questions, if you are in this waiting period, or if you feel like you're being crushed by the weight of whatever it is, love to hear from you, because we're all in this together. We're here to help one another. So Les Brown said, what will it cost if you don't follow your dreams? So a lot of people always say, what would you do to get what you want? I always say, what wouldn't you do? And so, like, there's no dream that comes to pass without some sense of sacrifice. And so when I read this like that, that's what it always says. But he said, by doing some soul searching to answer the question of what will it cost you not to follow your dreams, he said, you'll discover all the wonderful things that you deserve in life that you'll miss out on. Cousin, hey, Jonna. And so the exercise that was given in that was to take 3 pieces of paper. On one page, make a list of what it will cost you not to live out your dreams. Like, you here, you alive. Les Brown is known for saying that, and other people have said it, but I like the way he says it best. He says, the richest place in the world is in the cemetery, because that's where people's hopes, dreams, ideas went to die, because they never let them come to fruition while they were here walking in the earth. So on a page, make a list of what it will cost you if you don't follow your dreams. On another page, make a list of the fears that are holding you back right now. I coach and do strategic planning, career coaching, startup coaching, entrepreneur coaching for so many people that aren't moving forward strictly based on fear. One of the key things, a memory popped up, and I've been estimating this for years because I do a lot of studies about how video was going to be one of the most relevant pieces of internet traffic, and especially social media. And so the forecast that I had gave a few years ago was that video would account for 80% of traffic in 2020. Well, what I didn't take into account when I did that analysis was the fact that COVID would happen. And so now when I look at my children on TikTok, when I look at my teenagers on Instagram, when I look at my young adults on Snapchat and Instagram, all of those things are video. And when I even look at how Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram are shifting the algorithm, they give video preferential treatment over just a static infographic post. And so I coach so many individuals that I tell them they need to connect with people. People do business with, buy from, connect with individuals they know, like, and trust. And so how can they come to know, like, and trust you? I mean, it's possible, but it's a little bit more difficult if they never hear you speak, if they never hear you talk, if they don't have an opportunity to see you moving in your craft. And so a lot of individuals' feedback to me when I try to give them that task is, well, I'm scared to speak publicly. I don't know, something happens when I got to get in front of a crowd. And I get that, like, fear is real. We all have fear. It is a natural instinct that we've been given. If a bear come in my living room right now, or a lion, I'm going to get scared and I'm going to react accordingly. But what fear was not meant to do, which is the spirit of fear, was to stop us from moving into our purpose. And so if there's something, the biggest ways that I found to combat fear is to really know my stuff. Hey, cousin, that is one of your issues. And I don't know why. I don't know why you won't do videos, especially with the product that you sell. Your videos don't even have to do a lot of talking. But I will say people love to see the process. And so, we'll take my cousin, for instance. Shout out to Inspiring Lives Apparel, makes all my shirts for the PowHER Network, and shirts for my clients as well. One of the things that I'm sure people will love to see, and you can time elapse it where it can go really quick, Kevin, is that you can just show your process. That will engage your audience. And so you could do some videos where you're not even talking, but you're showing them do the heat press, you're showing yourself cut the vinyl, you're showing the artistry of what you do. That will grab people's attention, because another good thing to know about video is that 80% of the videos that are watched on social media are watched without sound. And so closed captioning is important, but doing those time-lapse videos like I talked about, think about all the hairdressers that are out there. Latrice was in here earlier. I'm not sure if she's still here, from Pinasis. Yes, competency decreases fear. That's where I was going, cousin. You're right. Before our other cousin jumped in, is that when you know your stuff, when you are competent in your craft and you know your stuff. I've had individuals ask me, years ago, leading up to now, how can you just go live and start talking about all these various things. I talk about what I know. I talk about what I've studied. I've talked about what I have experience in. I talk about, as Oprah would say, what I know for sure. And when you're talking about what you know for sure, you can talk about it confidently. Now, that's not to say it's some people out here talking confidently about something and they jacking. And so as you're hiring consultants, contractors, individuals, make sure you check their resume and their credentials, and that you are getting advice for someone. No one can take you where they haven't been. And so I find it interesting when people want to tell you how to get rich and they want to tell you how to buy whatever, and they've never bought anything and they've never been rich. And so, yes, Grit and Grace. One of my favorite books by Amy Duckworth is Grit. I love it. And so Grit will take you far, and grace is so important, and confidence. Oh, come on. My cousin's just gonna take, come on. Should I pull you in, cousin? I'm not on Facebook Live traditionally, so I can't just pull you in like normal, but I'm gonna have to send you a guest invite for next time. And so just make sure. And so back to that fear factor with the speaking, with the writing, study, become competent in the areas that you're scared of. Get so competent in them. I didn't wake up like this. Like, I'm not Beyonce. I do wake up like this, but I didn't wake up just being able to speak like this. This comes from years of putting myself out there. And I would say for those parents that are out there, because I know that this can become an issue in adult life, I already put my children in positions that make them uncomfortable. So my almost 22-year-old dropped a new album last week, and I'm super proud of him. Saint Miguel is his name that he goes by as an artist. And he dropped a whole album. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and SoundCloud. And so he came over Sunday night and he specifically wanted to talk about how he can get his music out and how he can get signed. And he's actually moving past being just an artist. He's interested in getting signed as a songwriter. He's interested in getting signed as a producer, because he mixed, mastered, produced, etc., this whole thing himself, and put it out there and created visuals. But he is a very laid back, introverted person. And so he's really not interested in putting himself out there publicly. And so, I just kind of talked to him about, Beyonce. If you look at old Beyonce, when she first like Destiny's Child and right post Destiny's Child, she was on every red carpet. She was on every interview. She was on Oprah. She was on E. She was on Bravo. She was everywhere. You're not going to catch her in look. If you might, because sometimes she just do stuff because she feel like it. But I haven't seen her on Andy's Clubhouse yet on Bravo. And I remember her taking an interview, and they called her like the hardest working woman in entertainment. And she said, I'm working this hard now, so when I get to the point that I have a husband and children, et cetera, that I can pick and choose how hard I want to work and how much I want to be in the public eye. And so when I look at that, I think that's really critical. And so what I was saying to my son, my cousin is Dr. Hammond is headed where I'm headed, is I told him that all great things happen outside of his comfort zone. And if him being more social, and Toastmasters is great, been around forever. If he's looking to be more social, and look, Toastmasters is great, but the Power Network might do a public speaking course. So stay tuned for that, Alexis. If he's looking to engage with his target audience more, and his listeners and his potential clients and music industry professionals, that he's going to have to step outside of his comfort zone and do some things that make him feel the most uncomfortable. When I do the things that make me feel the most uncomfortable, that's typically when I'm the most successful. That's typically when there is a pivot in my business, in my personality, in me as a professional, that takes me to another level. Everything great happens outside of our comfort zones. And that, areas, oh, that's a cliche. Well, cliches become cliche because there's some truth to them. Let me see. Did I finish the Les Brown thing? Okay. So one page, make a list of what it will cost you not to follow your dreams. On another page, make a list of the fears that are holding you back. On the last page, make a list of what actions you need to take to overcome each fear and the actions to take to create your dreams. Getting clarity provides increased awareness necessary to do something about it. And so what I love about that is I'm all about actionable steps. And so to sit here and say, I'm afraid to do this, I'm not good at this, this is where I'm missing it. Okay, so you've identified it. And so write it down, because there's something powerful about seeing our goals written down. And so then On that other list, when you're saying, when you're writing down, what is that costing you? Okay, so you're already doing good, but good is the enemy of great. And so I want to do great. So if I feel like, anytime I feel like I'm just doing good, that I'm just scratching the surface, that I'm just getting by, that I'm just making just enough, then I'm like, girl, that's not good enough, because we want to be great. We're here for greatness. And so what can I do to be great? And so then I have to make this list of, okay, what does greatness look like? And what is it costing me not to be great? And typically it's about sacrifice. It's about alignment. It's about regimen. It's about organization. It's about prioritizing. It's about being honest about what time and hours of the day am I wasting when I could be doing other things. And I'm especially talking to entrepreneurs, because we run our day. But then, even because when I had a full-time corporate job and I was running this business, I had no time to waste, because I wasn't going to let the business die. I wasn't going to let down my corporate job. I'm a person of integrity. I still had the husband and the kids. They still needed me. And so in order, some people just want to fly by the seat of their pants. There's no way you can live a life as demanding as the life that I live and fly by the seat of your pants. Every night before I go to bed, the last thing I do is I write down my to-do list for the next day. And every morning when I get up, it's the first thing that I look at, because it is critical that I have an actual plan for how the day will unfold. Does that mean that I get through the whole plan every day? No. Does that mean that I beat myself up about it? No. But at 43 years old, first of all, I can't remember everything. Second of all, there's things that get thrown in my day that I wasn't expecting. One of the corporate America loves to use headwinds and tailwinds. So, headwinds, push you forward, tailwinds pull you back, just thinking about wind trajectory and how that works. And so it's like, I've adopted that. Like, what are my headwinds and what are my tailwinds in this business? And what do I need to be focused on? And so I hope this helped you guys. I hope this helped. We started this talking about the weight of the weight. And so my hope with what I've shared is ways to ease up some of the weight, WEIGHT, while you wait, WAIT. And a lot of it has to do with, what do you do while waiting? I pray. When I don't know what else to do, I pray. When I don't know what else to do, I'll go grab a yoga session. When I don't know what else to do, I will take a nap. When I don't know what else to do, when I feel stuck and I feel like I've reached my intellectual capacity, I will read an amazing book, or I will listen to an amazing podcast, or I will go on YouTube and I will watch an amazing message. And sometimes I will just watch something to make me laugh. And so it is okay to take a moment to reset. It is okay to have a moment. It's completely fine. It is completely fine. The other thing is that I keep a gratitude journal. Because we can get super caught up in everything that's going wrong. We can get super caught up in all the times we've missed it. And guess what? That's our humanity. As humans, we miss it. And the other piece that I had to give myself some grace for is, I do not have to change my life every single day. I don't. So many of us wake up and we feel like failures because we're like, what did I do today to change my life? You don't have to change your life every day. You don't have to change your relationship every day. And one bad day is not indicative of a bad life. And there are so many people dealing with so many things, besides running my business, besides my husband working at US Bank. He's also a minister. We also work in ministry. And so there are so many calls we get on a personal level of people dealing with things that other individuals could not imagine. We're one of those people that get the calls. And, oh, hey, Jamila. Yes. Love you, girl. Hey, Maya. And so, sit down, and even if you don't want to have an actual gratitude journal, if you're not a journal person, whether you got an Android or an iPhone, it's a notes area on your phone. Get up every day and write down 3 things that you are grateful for in the morning. And then that night, write down 3 things. And some days, the 3 things are just, I'm just grateful to still be here. I'm just grateful for this roof over my head. I'm just grateful that I ate today. I'm grateful for the clothes on my back. I'm grateful for friendships. I'm grateful for whatever it is. There is always something to be grateful for. And it's really hard. Spend less time complaining. Dr. Caroline Leaf is one of my favorite Christian scientists, authors, and she's got a book called Switch Your Brain, and then she's also got another book called Eat to Live. And I got to hear her speak in person, and during that time, I got 1 minute, I'm about to let y'all go. During that time, she talked about how we are feeding ourselves like 6,000 negative thoughts a moment, and she said, and so our brain is wired to confirm the negativity that we're thinking. And so we have to combat that with positivity through our diet, through our thoughts, through the words that we speak. So stop complaining. When you hear it coming out of your mouth, stop it. Start saying what you want to see until you see what you're saying. And so every day I say how much money I want to make that day. Every day I say where I want my business. For so many of us, we're not getting our prayers answered. Now we won't talk about prayer. If you don't pray, we're not getting our, after whatever you call it, answered because we're not specific enough. And then we're not even, and then if we say like, oh, I really want to be a famous, my son, I'll keep using him as an example. He wants to be a famous artist. He wants to impact people, wants to win Grammys. Okay, well, can we get specific about that? Like, when you want to do that, by when, how, who you connecting to, what action steps you taking. Like, we got to get more specific in our prayers. We got to get more specific in our desires. And then we got to start speaking that thing. I have it written down on a whiteboard in my room. Those things are the first things that I see. My goals, my priorities are the first things that I see in the morning, the last things I see at night. But then also I'm speaking that thing. I'm speaking it in the shower. I'm speaking it every time I have quiet time. And so what are you saying to yourself about yourself? What are you saying to yourself about the wait while you wait? What are you saying to yourself about your healing? What are you saying to yourself about your finances? What are you saying to yourself about your relationships, your friendships, your marriage, your children? What are you saying? We have what we say. If you want to do something different, say something different. If you want to see something different, say something different, and then do things that back into making your words match up to what you want your life to look like. All right. Okay. I'm out of time. That was my lunch. All right, you guys, I will see you tomorrow. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be feeling healthy, and I appreciate you guys. Peace, love, power. I'm out.